10:31 a.m. It just turned 10:31. Seeking to get as precise as possible. 10:31 versus 10:30, negligible difference. What I'm showing you is the maintenance of engineered light in a position that is under no circumstances characteristic of where sunlight would be placed, even if this were the natural environment such that the sun would be in a position to be seen outside in this direction, facing the east direction. The sun is not in a position to be seen horizontal, that is in alignment with the third floor of an apartment building, to be in a position where it's above the so-called, the sun is above us, but yet light is at an angle horizontally coming through the windows and the blinds are closed and you have the engineered light that's appearing on the floor. That's not sunlight. This is the pattern in addition to what's not even possibly the sun. As you see this light source and the light source is directly above. Here is the light source that's directly above me, and what's occurring, first of all, you're going to recall the documentation 2 hours from now when I was inside of my apartment and the light source was in this position outside of my living room window as though that was the sunrise. As I'm walking downstairs, it's in the same position, but we're going to go back to when I'm inside of my living room window. This is at 8 in the morning. That was 2 hours ago. Non-movement of the light source, moving closer to the edge of the windowsill where it still remains at this position as I walk out, for example, as I've already documented, walking outside of my front door inside of the same apartment at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The light source is in the same exact position over the top of my head, that is in its zenith, while I'm standing at the same exact location inside of my apartment. None of this is the sun. That's one facet of the analysis. The sun is also not going to be in a position 9 hours from now where it is so-called setting, where I'm still looking at the light source. That is by definition non-movement. So you're engaging in what is an illogical and asinine false depiction, imitation, counterfeit depiction of the natural environment that under no circumstances includes the sun deviating from maintaining stationary presence outside of my living room window while I am outside of my apartment, which is what I documented here at 8:27 in the morning. But while I remain inside of my apartment, it's maintaining stationary presence, which is what I'm documenting yesterday all day long, while the light source is remaining in the same position outside of my living room window. And not moving to be in any position where it's going to be seen over me while I'm at the parking lot on the opposite side of my apartment building where Center for Better Life is group stalking. And that's by virtue of seeing that light source. This is the light source that's captured while I'm inside of my apartment yesterday morning. The sun is not moving from being outside of my living room window, and neither is any of this sunlight. This is documentation of the pattern of conduct, and I'm just systematically breaking down every aspect of the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. And as I have pointed out, what is key to group stalking is the maintenance of engineered light, directed light, impossible light activity, as I have termed it. It is the light that is behaving in a manner that is under no circumstances possibly the natural behavior of light. And by the way, this is captured at 7 o'clock in the morning. The entity is suggesting that 3.5 hours from this time where the supposed sunrise is present, the sun is still going to be in a position outside of the same location to be seen in this manner. No, that's not the sun. And then in addition, 10, 11, 12, 3 hours from now, so it's a matter of what is 6 hours. Sunrise until after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the so-called sun would still be in the same position over the top of my head, which is already on the record. That's the pattern of conduct, not the natural environment. In addition to that, at the same time, while I'm documenting the maintenance of this light source that's over the top of my head, which I'm also going to capture on images at this time, the entity is maintaining a light source in the same position in an entirely distinct region where, again, on this day in 2022, where I'm showing the light source that's over me while I am going about my day. And that's why I'm documenting the system, because the so-called sun, it's the light source coexisting with what is engineered light while people are pacing all around me in the engineered environment. That's not sunlight that appears on the sidewalk in this manner. These are plastic rims. Okay, this is light activity where they're moving around in the engineered light. None of this is the natural occurring environment, nor is that even the sun. This is the engineered light that you see moving while this demon is pacing around, monitoring me. That's the criminal act of engaging in the elements of monitoring. This is the engineered light that you see moving all about, creating multiple shadows on my ceilings and on my living room floor right now. It's not sunlight. And it's not the result of moving underneath a so-called sun. And the sun is not possibly maintaining this position over me in Ontario while it's remaining in this position over me while I am at the same apartment complex where it rises and sets, meaning because it's remaining stationary in LA, how was I ever able to capture the so-called sun over me at Andy's Burgers, at Shiro's Liquor, at the Ovid Family Community Library, not just present, but for the duration of the day, everywhere that I went, no matter what time of day, by the way, that I went to the aforesaid locations, which is speaking to a state system. All right, the entity is maintaining the light source over me for the duration of the day, and as I document, contrary to what's going on, and this is the documented group stalker, by the way, T-Mobile, where I documented the P.O.C. Engineered light that you see inside of my bedroom is engineered light that's inside of a T-Mobile store. That's never the result of sunlight that would ricochet off of vehicles while they're driving by the T-Mobile. Sunlight does not ricochet off of your car and appear inside of the depths of the T-Mobile. That's the pattern of conduct, and that's the identification of a demon-possessed population who are group stalking, and it includes companies such as T-Mobile, by the way, where I am subject to the pattern of conduct, which is why you see the light source over me while I get on Omnitrans. But while I'm in LA on the same day now, in 2024, on the same day, the entity is maintaining a light source while I am at Alvarado Gardens. What I'm documenting at 10:30, I went to Chino on this day, and that's why I started this video. 10:30 and 10:31 is when I started recording, so essentially the same time. The entity is maintaining a light source at 10:30 in the morning, so I want you to look at this light source, which is not possibly the sun, and that which is also, the reason why I'm picking this time over and over again? Oh, because I'm documenting the criminal act by the state of California that engaged in kidnapping. All right, and there is no sun that's going to be over the Ovid Family Community Library at 10:29 in the morning at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California, and at the same time over the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court in that same zenith position over the top of my head at 8303 Haven Avenue in Rancho Cucamonga, California, and then just for funsies, in order to further prosecute the state and expose demon possession while the entity is abusing its position as literally the government that's engaged in criminal surveillance through demonic means. I'm going to Chino, California, and at the Chino Superior Court, you have the implausible occurrence, the maintenance of the specific environment where federal group stalking and monitoring is underway, which is why I have the light source over me here, and you have the people of the state group stalking here, all right, while they are crossing paths in the specific environment. That's what you have right here. This is a demon that's slowing down while they know that I'm zooming in on their location. This is pathetic. This is the people of the state hiding behind the green tree right here, bushels. That's a demon-possessed group stalker driving a commercial vehicle who's engaging in criminal surveillance. I don't even need their identification, but I want to show you what is all of the population is engaging in a sex offense as one. They're engaging in what is criminal surveillance as one. And the evidence of that is the maintenance of the unnatural environment. So let me get the light source, because what you're going to see is what the entity is doing, moving, keeping a fake sun over me. That's why it's not going to be over the window. Clearly, when I walk to my front door, which is over there, which if this was the natural environment and I'm walking to my front door, then I'll be over here at my front door getting the sun from this vantage point. But the fake sun is going to move to be right over my head as I go to my front door, which under no circumstances is over the Chino Branch Library. This is capturing the P.O.C. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, and first of all, this is engineered light. The sun that's over the Chino Branch Library at the same time is not creating any sunlight that's going to appear underneath the structure and any locations. First of all, the sun would not even be over here. I wouldn't even see it. And it's also not creating the sunlight. This is how you're systematically breaking down the whole system of federal group stalking and monitoring. It is the identification of group stalking. Living at a crime scene is grounds of federal prison. And the light source moves to be in alignment with me, which is exactly what you see here. This is capturing the pattern of conduct, and you're understanding what is criminal maintenance of presence in the path. Okay, that's a commercial actor, smart janitorial, who is indeed group stalking. I'm facilitating the system on every Wednesday and Friday. Today, it's this week, it's Monday and Wednesday, and that is the grounds of federal prison. This is the light source that's over me at 10:30 in the morning, and this is the light source that's over me in an entirely distinct location, not sharing any sky space with the Chino Branch Library, not sharing any sky space with what is the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, not sharing any sky space with what is the Ovid Family Community Library, each of which, by the way, are distinct locations where the sun is not going to maintain this presence over me even before coming to Los Angeles. The sun is not maintaining ubiquitous presence in this manner, first of all, for the duration of the day, nor over everyone, everywhere, no matter where you are, even if you stay at one place all day long. This is the pattern of conduct. And even as I analyze it here, the light source is rising as I'm capturing at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's still here. And it's still here in this position, by the way, at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, over the top of my head. That's how you understand who the people of the state are and who the target individual is. That is not the shared experience by the demon driving the Ready Refresh vehicle this morning. That light source stays here at the property over Alvarado Gardens, over me, not over that third party. The identification of a specific environment where you are capturing the so-called sun over you, that's revealing to you what is surrounding all of us, which is a demonic environment. It's not the natural environment. The entity is stalking in this environment, and it is the identification of state action, and they are doing so in concert with the people of the state, who are living maliciously, keeping you under surveillance. And they're engaging in a sex offense while it occurs in a private space. They're engaging in workplace terrorism, as I'm documenting it while I'm on the job, and their entity is doing it while federal stalking on communication devices remains underway.
It's currently 10:29 a.m. and this is 10:30 a.m. right now. This is the light source. This is the pattern of conduct. I'm in the city of Chino. I'm sitting at the same bench. The entity engaging in an ongoing progression of what would be shade. This is where it is, where I'm initially seated. It's shade. This is the pattern of conduct. This directed light moves.
This light source that's over me, the so-called sun, is not creating the shadow of the tree over that courthouse. The sun that's over me at Alvarado Gardens facing the east outside of my front door, the living room window, is not in any position over the Chino Superior Court at all. It's not over that. It's not over Chino. It's impossible. It's directly over me, where you see everything covered in engineered light. This is the illusion. Oh, this is the sun, and that this is all sunlight. Okay, well, the sun is clearly here, and it's not over any courthouse in Chino. The maintenance of the light source, in the same way that you see it here in Chino, is speaking to what the state of California is engaging in, and it's massive surveillance, and they're all demon possessed, all of them. All right, it's a statewide system.
Progressively closer and closer to me. This is the removal of the shade. This is, again, directed light and engineered light, stalking with light, because the sun is not hovering over me at the Ovid Family Community Library entrance, directly over that venue, as I'm documenting on June 16, 2022, where the Ontario Police are engaged in terrorism and harassment, group stalking, and doing so at that venue of the Ovid Family Community Library at 10:29 a.m. and also hovering over the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court at 8303 Haven Avenue in Rancho Cucamonga in the same manner. And it's perfect zenith directly over my head. And then I'm in Chino, California today, in front of what is the Chino Superior Court, 13260 Central Avenue. And this is where the light source is remaining on public transportation, showing what is the maintenance of this light source en route to this venue and remaining over me. And documentation already establishing the entity maintaining a light source directly over any venue where I'm inside of, which is documented at the Chino Branch Library, through the windows of that library, over me in the parking lot of that library, which is literally on the opposite side of this building. That's speaking to what is not the sun, the unnatural environment. Also, that mutual zenith that's maintained in Ontario, California, in Rancho Cucamonga, California, in Chino, California, which is an impossible.
Alrighty, this is speaking to, again, the P.O.C. that I remain subject to while I am showing you the methods of stalking with engineered light. Right? That's for the criminally cooperative conduct of demons who stalk in the path with audible activity. None of this is sunlight. This is called engineered light, and you're understanding the reality of an entirely demonic environment, and it is shown, it is being revealed to you. You are observing it and witnessing the personification of the presence of the demonic through the unnatural environment. All right, and so there's no sunlight that's going to reach underneath a covered structure and engage in such gymnastics by the sun that's shooting light at a downward trajectory. The engineered light is something that's appearing in a manner that's impossible on its face. It's the same with the light activity you saw outside of my front door. In addition to that, it's not even the sun that will possibly even be here while it's remaining over me and in a documented location at the Chino Superior Court for the duration of the day. I walk out after the library closes at 6 p.m. and the light source is still over me. This is already on the record. So what I'm documenting in LA is what the entire state of California is engaging in, and while a pattern remains underway, there is no ignorance with regard to the engagement in the pattern of conduct. This is exposing public corruption, which government actors are fully aware of. They act with impunity, and you're revealing how mentally deranged you are while you engage in both federal stalking and group stalking, period, on its face. You are mentally deranged, you are demon possessed, and I want to be clear, the effect on a human being, this is how you have what is a group stalker, somebody stalking a stranger, somebody stalking an innocent American citizen, doing so by a whole department. This is what they are putting all of their resources toward. It's psychotic. And then you know that you're being documented, so you'll fly in circles in front of that target individual for 47 minutes. That is speaking to what is very highly mentally deranged and disturbing criminal activity by a terrorist organization, not a law enforcement agency. All right, it is currently 10:46 a.m. The light source remains over me, as I've already documented, and it's not over the front door anymore. It's right here over my window again, in alignment to me wherever it is that I move, which is called stalking with an environment. It's terrorism, and it is state action, because in this environment, the state needs this to engage in. This is why I've got such heavily documented stalking and harassment, terrorism, and ongoing elements of monitoring underway while the entity uses helicopters to do so. Stalking in helicopters is a hallmark, and it's occurring in the specific environment. And where government is practicing demonic activity, that demonic environment and that demonic activity that's in sync with it will be prosecuted as state action. Okay? It is currently 10:46 a.m. and this is POC.